Welcome to this episode of Chatting with Staxx. I'm your host, Bill Staxx, and today I got the Alaskan Avenger's sister.
He had a girlfriend at the time, and he had told her what was going on, and she said, "We got to get you out of there." So she came and picked him up one night. He snuck out when Sandy and Larry realized that he was gone. He went back to get his stuff the next day. They had his stuff in garbage bags on the front porch. He's 16 years old, but they refused to give him his ID, social security card, birth certificate, any of that. They said, and I quote, she said something along the lines of, "We do not want to aid him into his life of crime," which ironically, that is the reason why he got into crime. They make their way down to Portland or Seattle, one or the other. I can't remember right now. At that time, Joel happened to be there. And Joel got them an apartment, but basically said, "I'm not going to help you anymore because I don't believe you and your girlfriend should be living together, having premarital sex, blah, blah, blah." So he got the apartment for them and then bounced out. Jason gets a job as a telemarketer. He goes after 2 weeks to get his paycheck, and the telemarketer is like, "I got your check right here, man, but I need some form of ID. I cannot give you this check until, you produce your ID, social security number, something." He didn't have that. Him and his girlfriend are sitting cross-legged on the floor in their empty apartment, eating food bank food. He realizes they don't even have toilet paper to wipe their asses with, So he goes down to the gas station, steals a roll of toilet paper, and is on his way back. And he's like, "How the hell am I going to make money? How am I going to buy his food? What am I going to do?" And he sees a gym. So he stops at the gym and he's like, "I bet you there is money in these lockers." So he goes back to the gym the next day and says, "Hey, can I have a free day pass so I can see if I want to get a membership?" So he goes in there and he starts going through lockers, and he said, "Angelina, I'll never forget the first wallet that I opened. It had like $930 in it." He was like, "I thought we were rich." That's like, eventually he got caught. Like, he started doing, little petty theft and stuff like that here and there. He got caught, went to juvie when he was 17, I think. And he was so terrified they were going to send him back to Larry and Sandy, but they didn't. There was a really nice woman there who helped him get his ID. And when he turned 18, they released him. But he was already too far into the game at that point.
Yeah, and especially when you go to a place like that, you're surrounded by other kids who are bad. So it kind of like influences you to keep doing the wrong thing.
Yeah. So that's kind of the story about how he began his life of crime and all the things that happened to my brothers. Like, and it just blows my mind, honestly, because they had three parents. They had Sandy, they had Larry, and then they had our father Gary, and all three of them turned their back on them. Like,
and the church too,
and the church. And I'm over here. I had no parents, and I had people. My family went to court to have a custody battle for me after my parents died, or after my mom died, and were fighting over me. And I had no parents. Like, it just blows my mind that he had three parents, which is more than most, and all three of them just turned their back on their kids. It's insane to me. And that really, really struck a chord, like, in my heart, And again, we became best friends as soon as he called me. He talks to me every day. And I'm just doing my best to help him make the right choices and get out and have a fresh start at a life he never had the chance to live.
He's kind of a legend in the whole criminal world, however you would call it. He's kind of like a mythical figure that does justice for people who can't defend themselves.
Yeah.
Some people won't agree with it, but
and it's funny because when he and I first started talking, we had just normal talking for about 8 months, and like I had gone up to visit him for the first time, and I had like 400 friends on Facebook, right? And I kind of was just video documenting. I'm just found my brother who I've never met. I'm going to meet him. He's in prison, And so fast forward about 8 months after we met, my Facebook started blowing up, getting tagged in something, and some big Facebook page had posted a meme about him. A lot of my friends and family had seen it, started tagging me, "Hey, this is his sister. And so I go, and it's got thousands and thousands of comments and everything, and people are wanting to know how to help. And so Jason calls me the next day, and I'm like, "Hey, this is what's going on. Like, what do you want me to do about this? He was like, well, I'm going to have a discretionary parole hearing that's going to be coming up, and we should probably get an attorney. If you want to start a GoFundMe or something, you know, we can raise money to get an attorney. So that's kind of how the whole social media stuff started for us. And we ended up raising $8,000 and was able to retain an attorney. And like, it was awesome. Like, I didn't get into this and immediately start, you know, getting on social media and start doing it. Like, it kind of hit us like later on. And so, and I'm telling you, it was 400 friends to 40,000 followers on my personal page within a 2 weeks time span. I could not keep up. I had my kids literally getting on and replying to people. Like, all of us were on our computers trying to keep up with everything. And by the time I finally was able to create his own Jason support pages, like, my stuff was already, like, it was crazy. It was crazy. And honestly, like, when something like that happens to you, you like kind of start to go viral out of nowhere. It's a lot. And then the topic that thousands and thousands of messages from men, women, children about details of the things that have happened to them, like, it was an eye-opener for me. Like, I honestly had no idea how bad of a problem this was. And like, I had no idea. And it scared me because I have 2 little girls, you know. I became very, you know, passionate about it. And so here we are.
And they have all these different organizations now that catch people online. And so all the cases that are reported, can you imagine all the cases that aren't?
Yeah. Isn't it crazy? Like, it blows my mind. Like, if you look at the statistics, like, it's insane. And that's why that we want to be out here talking about this, because I feel like if it's not such a taboo subject, you know, I guess I can't say the word probably, but, you know, just,
you could,
you know, I just don't want it to get shadow banned or whatever. But like, you know, like, if that is something that is not a taboo subject and everybody's talking about it, it will give the survivors, the victims, whatever you want to call them, the courage to come out and say something and know that this is not right. Like, this, you know, it opens it up so that they're not so scared and embarrassed, and what, you know what I'm saying? So I think everybody needs to be talking about it. Everybody needs to be sharing it. Everybody needs to be talking to their children about it and have a very open relationship and conversations about this stuff with your kids, because it just blew my mind how bad of a problem it is. So,
and people who support that type of stuff should be exposed. People like the church, they should all be exposed for that.
Absolutely. And yeah, there's there are supporters. There are people who out there who are not, but who are, they're just, what do they call them? The minor
attracted something.
A minor attracted, MAPS or MOPS or whatever it is. Yeah, I'm like, you are just as bad. And I don't think there's a cure for being. It's a sexual fetish of some sort, and I don't think there's a cure for it.
And even when the roles are reversed, like when it's a woman doing it to a young boy, it's kind of like
it happens all the time.
They don't look at it the same, though.
I know, but they should. Like, teachers who are female teachers who are sleeping with their, you know, high school students or whatever, like, that is not okay. No. Like, your frontal lobe does not fully develop until you're 25. The 25 and under group need to stay with each other. And I'm not saying 25 and a 15-year-old. I'm saying like 18 to 25 need to stay in their group, in my opinion, my personal opinion. And then, you know, under that. And then, I don't know. It's just, it's such a gray area too with maturity and stuff like that. But I just don't understand people who are sexually interested in small children. I just don't understand it.
I think
agreed. And I don't mean like just their balls off. Their needs, sorry, excuse my language. Their needs to not be able to function. It needs to be gone. Like that is not okay. Anyways,
I heard there's a new law in
Louisiana.
Louisiana will the person.
Yep.
Their balls off.
Yeah. Yes. And they should. But just because your balls are doesn't mean you can't have sex, right? Like,
well, Florida, I heard they give you the death penalty if they get caught with a person under the age of 5 or something like that.
Good. It needs to be under the age of like 14 is what it needs to be. But that's everybody has their own opinions on that. But
so where did it change for him to go out and do this type of thing to these people?